Hi everybody, it's Lasha, and you've reached, I have 3 channels, L&L Soul Sisters, High Voltage, and Lasha Rajenko. And I want to thank everybody who has not unsubscribed, because I'm not talking about that anymore. Last night, when I was reading Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, and I did watch the video wherein I read about Carolyn Bessette, and it's very clear. The questions that I put up last night are very clear. And if you know anything about the Kennedys, and if you've been listening to this podcast for real, or story time for real, you'll know the answers. Now, I just want to go over the last 3 pages of Jackie Kennedy Onassis prior to getting into the girls. I always like to pick up a little bit where we left off, just to refresh even my memory. I do it for myself as well. Okay, so on page 38, remember when she was saying, what kind of a narcissist has she married? A week went by, and Jackie was still in the hospital with no word from Jack. He intended to keep cruising around the Med until September, which is the Mediterranean, and as soon as he got home, he was going off to campaign for the next 3 months. So really, Jack was leaving her at the foreseeable future, was leaving her for the foreseeable future. Jackie wanted an annulment. Divorce was not enough. She wanted the Catholic Church to nullify this marriage, negate it, treat it as a great nothing, just as her husband had done. I'm never going back, Jackie said. Jack's self-preservation must have kicked in, because 3 days after the baby's funeral, and this is the child that she never got to hold, that was born, was still born. Her nemesis, the equally lecherous, like a leech, lecherous, George Smathers, was the one who got Jack back home to her. It was hardly the stuff of romance. If you ever want to be President, Jack, you better haul your ass back to your wife. So he hauled his behind back to Jackie because of the presidency. We're going to dig into the psychology. Everyone in DC knew the truth. And don't forget, do you remember when Jackie Bouvier Kennedy, or Jackie Bouvier met Jack Kennedy, and he had a poster of Marilyn Monroe, but it was upside down. So instead of her standing like this, and it was the pose where the dress, remember the pose that Marilyn did, and the dress was flying up and she held it back like this. And this woman, Marilyn Monroe, oozed sexuality. She was a child, she was sexy, and abused. And the Kennedy men, I believe, was Marilyn Monroe's demise. I also believe that Jackie passed away at 62 because of all of the emotional pain, because I truly believe what causes aging is the people around you when you're young, and as you get older, the more people that pass, the older we get. So maybe there's a connection to that. I'm not a scientist. So the point is that everyone in DC knew the truth about Jack's womanizing. And it was always off limits to the press. So I will repeat this again. Everyone in DC knew, but it was off limits to the press. Here's my question. Do you know, every channel I watch, it's always, people talk about free speech, how our free speech is being attacked. YouTube did not take down a video of mine, but I did not get a copyright for music. That is not what the copyright was for. Somebody complained, and that's why I'm never putting up comments again. If people want to send me information about themselves, please, by all means, if you want to do that privately, email me, and then we can have a private conversation. But when people leave up comments and I want to reply, if I didn't reply in the way this person wanted me to, and I felt horrible. But what I also realized is, why should I feel horrible? I addressed everything that I thought was the truth. And I put videos out for this particular person, dancing for them. I wrote a song for this person. And this was way before what was expressed to me. However, I read, all I saw from the beginning of that comment was, hey, here's how it is. And then I went off saying, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I haven't heard from you. How are you? I've really grown. I've been doing this, And then I read the rest of the message and addressed every issue. And it was like that comment when I danced and somebody said, there's nothing wrong with the painting. There's nothing wrong. It's you that people have the problem with. And I was really taken aback because I just couldn't understand. I didn't understand it, and I sent an apology, and it was during this conversation that my last Kennedy chapter was uploaded. Then my computer died, and bing, a strike during that conversation. So it was weird, or a coincidence. How the heck do I know? But it wasn't for music. I know that for sure. And to ensure that I never get a copyright for music, I'm going to do what Melody Moon suggested and write my own songs and dance to my own music so I don't get a copyright. Not because I think I'm fantastic. Anyways, back to the kids, back to the this behavior of Jack Kennedy. Okay, and you know what? If a fraction of Jack's sex life made the papers, it wouldn't be Jack left humiliated. When Jackie was finally released from hospital, she stayed with her mother in Hammersmith Farm, where she mourned her baby and her marriage. How could I be just so stupid? I'm just so stupid. She'd ask through tears, how could I be so stupid? Janet couldn't stand to hear Jackie blame herself. None of this was her fault, but it was obvious why Jackie felt this way. Rose and Joe Kennedy were already making snide remarks about Jackie's smoking having caused the stillbirth, which is not true. So people were making remarks in the Kennedy family about her smoking, how she doesn't take care of herself, she's too thin, her performance as a wife is more dutiful, domestic, and sexual, and a mother. And then in brackets it said, if she could even successfully give her husband children, that would determine the success of their marriage, not Jack. Janet told Jackie to get a divorce while she was still young and beautiful and she could make another life for herself. That November, physically stronger but emotionally still a wreck, Jackie left for London to be with Lee, her sister, and her brother-in-law. Jack could spin all the stories he wanted to his adoring press. But Jackie's silence, her decision to put 3,000 miles between them, spoke louder than anything he could say. Jackie had left him, likely for good. In Virginia, she confided in her neighbor, Walter Ryder. Ryder 1 is the one that joined. I remember. And Tom joined. Oh, and there's this person, and it's a username with a bunch of letters that joined. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome to the rap community. It sounds culty. It's not a cult. It's my it's my mission statement. And you know why I follow up with people? I'll tell you in another video. All right, so Jackie had left him, likely for good. I wish she had have. In Virginia, she confided in her neighbor, Walter Ryder, the famous newspaper publisher. If anyone knew how this would play out in the media, it was Walter. She asked him to go for a walk and give her advice. What could happen if she filed for divorce? Response: it's not a decision you can make on a personal basis, Ryder said. This came as no surprise to Jackie, product of a broken home, a prominent wife considering divorce precisely because her husband had depersonalized and abandoned her and their stillborn baby, was as much a reflection of her dutiful nature as it was in the times. If you should leave him and divorce him, there will be no way he can be president. Remember Legally Blonde? I need a Jackie, not a Marilyn. Reese Witherspoon wrote that. Actually, it's not funny when I read this, but Legally Blonde is funny. And I doubt you want to why am I apologizing? And I doubt that you want that mark on your life. I know, Jackie said. She couldn't see that this was not something she was doing to Jack, but something Jack was doing to himself. Jackie had Ryder's sympathy up to a point. Quote, "We have all known Jack is difficult in ways of women," Ryder said. "But you knew that from the beginning. You signed up for this. Do not complain." I'm sure there are many moments that make up for it. That was true, Jackie had to admit. Despite everything, she was still deeply, deeply in love with Jack. I repeat, deeply, deeply in love with Jack. It sounds to me what they had was trauma bonding. When she had his attention, there was nothing like it. Yes. And then when they freeze you out, it breaks your heart. I know that, Jackie said. I know that. And that terrifies me. It was a terrible wait for a 28-year-old woman. 28! The idea that her needs could cost the country a potentially great president. Oh, he was great, all right. Bay of Pigs, Marilyn Monroe, the M word, SA word. And they thought Bill Clinton was bad. Whoever they are, and he's not bad. After all, her life's ambition, as she wrote in her boarding school yearbook, was not to be a housewife. Then again, what was becoming First Lady if not becoming America's preeminent, P-R-E-E-M-I-N-E-N-T housewife? Preeminent housewife. That was Jackie's conundrum. Her best chance at a great life depended on maintaining a smart marriage. Faithful husbands did not necessarily make the most interesting or enthralling ones. Are you kidding me? That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Oh, I really banged up my ribs. Oh, okay. Now, sorry, I thought it was Annabella. Now with Arabella gone, no one asked Jack how he could have left Jackie alone for over a week, or how he could have left it to Bobby to bury their baby. Maybe if there were more women in the press corps, things would be different. Maybe not. There weren't a lot of women back then, trust me. Barbara Walters. And when she passed away, there was so little said. Well, little surprise. To that, they wrote Jackie Kennedy off as bought and paid for. In their estimation, Jackie was the problem here. Shallow, self-absorbed, and willing to sell her soul for the right price. I wouldn't put it that strongly. Maureen did, but that's the way the Kennedys felt. What had she gotten herself into? Now that kind of reminds me of a little bit of Lady Di. 1 second, Sophie. Oh, sorry, Aunt. I'm not killing you. Go. Okay. I don't like it when people kill ants and spiders. Okay. Jackie agonized the engagement. She landed America's most elusive bachelor, and to her surprise, Jack admired her mind. He loved how smart she was. He loved that her dream job was, as she said more than once, to be overall art director of the 20th century. Jack had not known that he had bad taste, or no taste, until he met Jackie. He let her style him, order his designer suits, furnish their homes, renovate and landscape. Jackie was showing him the elemental pleasures of beautiful things. She elevated his taste level, and he was an eager student. As Jack and the old man said more than once, Jackie really classed up the Kennedys. Doris Okay, Doris pushed the First Lady back away from the curtain. Now this is, okay, this nurse was about to meet the real Jacqueline Kennedy. And this goes back to when he was in Dallas. It's my husband, Jackie said. His blood, his brains are all over me. The curtain parted. Jackie dropped to her knees and prayed before Jack. In came Dr. William Kemp Clark, the hospital's chief neurosurgeon. One look at the president and Clark knew he turned to Jackie. Would you like to leave, ma'am? He asked. We can make you more comfortable outside. Like she was a damsel in distress. No! Jackie's voice had gone. She mouthed the world, so she went, okay? There were tubes, I remember this part, tubes and catheters and da-da-da-da-da. Your husband, he said, has sustained a fatal wound. I know. The words did not come out. She made her way to the body and pressed her cheek against Jack's. Berkeley called for the room to be cleared. Then Jackie stayed with Jack. As she caressed her husband. The hole at the base of Jack's throat was gaping. The tubing from the tracheotomy. I know what that is. A tracheometry or you know, okay, I'm gonna spell it. Tracheotomy. Tracheotomy. Pulled out. The stiff corset he had worn for his bad back, which kept him upright after the first shot, had been cut off his body. His thick head of hair remained, even though the bloody undersides of his scalp had been shorn backward over his skull. This is morbid to read. His eyes were wide open. He was as handsome as ever. Jacqueline stared at his mouth and thought how beautiful he was. 2 priests came in to deliver the last rites. They were both in shock, both struggling to maintain their composure. As Doc Berkeley, Jackie prayed with him, her voice stronger now. Let perpetual light shine upon him, she said. The priests left, alone with her husband, or so she thought. Jackie kissed his naked body everywhere, his mouth, his chest, his legs, his private appendage. For all of Jack's woman, she was the last to possess him. Wow, I'm really glad that I read that through again. So I'm going back home in an hour. They're trying to sell the house, so there's an open house. So the girls is starting next. Yeah, actually, I'm so proud. And Eric, where are you? Where are you, Eric? Seriously, where are you? All right, again. Oh, sorry. Ask not the Kennedys and the women they destroyed. The other thing I want to talk about is the Life article that was written by, it was one of, I forget the name, but I'll find out because I watched the movie Jackie. I mean, when I was in that wheelchair and, you know, I watched a lot of movies. And it's amazing what you can learn from a movie. Honest to goodness. Here's Sophie. Hi, Sophie. Hi, Sophie. And that is a little leash for the bike. Yes, Bobbins. Hi. Say bye to everybody. Okay, we'll see you later, alligators.